Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. Thank you for joining me today. Right, kind of a disclaimer. I'm pretty sick at the moment, so you'll hear me being very nasally. But this Shop My Stash has gone on long enough. I want to pull new products for when I'm feeling a bit better. So we're going to go through the usage and then I'll pull some new products. So another thing is, if you're not too bothered about the usage, I do put timestamps in the video so you can just go to where I pick out new products if you want. So I keep everything in this little book here. So the e.l.f. Putty Primer, I finished it on the 1st of February. I think I've just put it in my empties and I used that 4 times. So then I've used the, it's going to be in this section. Or not. Oh, it's over there, I can see it. Well, let's talk about this one first anyway. So everything's in here, and then I've got another little basket. Right, so this Dior primer I pulled out. Sorry, we were zoomed in a little bit. I didn't realise we were so close in finishing the e.l.f. Poreless Putty one. I do want to get a drugstore one. I don't want to finish this in a matter of weeks, months or whatever. I am only using it a little bit, just in my T-zone area where the pores are. But even so, I want it to last for as long as possible. To be honest, it doesn't feel like there's much in. You can't even hear it shaking about. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep that out until I can get a drugstore one. Any recommendations that you guys have got for drugstore poreless primers, I would much appreciate. And then we had the hydrating one. How many times did I use this? Sorry. So the Dior one I used 4 times, it says. I probably used it more, but I've written 4 times down. And then the Shades by Shan, the hydrating primer, I didn't use it as much as I thought I would. So I used that twice according to this. So that's those 2 primers. I think that's it for primers. So then we're going on to foundation. Where's the CoverGirl one? So the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk in the shade 510 Porcelain. I used that 4 times according to this. I used the Uma one 3 times. It's far too dark. I need to get another Uma foundation. So when I go to my local Superdrugs, I'll try and get a really light one. It's better to get one by the brand. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I really don't want to declutter it if I don't have to. It costs quite a bit of money, even on sale. So this one is in the shade Fair Lady T2C. Sorry, I knew last Shop My Stash, I knew it would be too dark. So that one was only used 3 times. The Body Collection one, where is it? So the Body Collection Illuminating Liquid Foundation, light to medium, buildable coverage. I'm wearing it today. I absolutely love this foundation. It's in the shade Porcelain. It's my shade. I thought if I mixed this with a bit of the Uma foundation it would go, but it just made it look so dark and it oxidised. I think the Uma foundation does oxidise as well, which makes it even darker. If I have to declutter that, I will, but I don't know anyone with that skin tone to give it to, so it's a big fat waste of money, really. This one is not more than, I want to say £4, so I definitely want to get this again. And I used this a total number of 3 times, according to what it says here. I used the Wet n Wild one for the most part. It's pretty much all gone. So it's pretty much all gone. I used this in my live as well. And the spatula that's in this foundation doesn't reach to the bottom. But Becky was telling me about that you can get those flexible spatulas, and she showed me on her Instagram. So I'm going to try and get one of those and see if I can get it all from the foundation. I know there's only a little bit. It's just down here. There's just barely any at all. Let me show you. I mean, I bet there'd be enough to use for a day. But yeah, I'm going to try and get one of those little spatulas So the Wet n Wild one was definitely the one that got most used. It says four times, but I'm sure I used it more times than that. Then we have the bronzers. So we've got the Chanel bronzer. This is Project Pan. I'm not doing that whole roll in Project Pan so I can show you. So that's what it looks like. I'm just going to continue to work on it. I'm not pulling a cream bronzer today or until this is gone, just because I want to get this one out of the collection. So did really well on that. I used that 10 times. And then we have the Flower Beauty Heat Wave in the shade Sunrise L1. And I was saying in my live, this is more like a contour shade. The live is still on the channel. There's 3 lives on the channel from last week actually. 2 of them are really short though. I'm going to put my lives in the cards so you can check them out if you want to. So that's what it looks like. So on me it's definitely more, I would say, contour. Although it does look a bit warm. And I did use that 10 times as well. I used it as a powder over the top of the Chanel bronzer. We've not gone into concealers, so let's do that. So the 2 concealers I was using the past fortnight are these 2. So this was in my Project Pan last year. There's not a lot left, so it's just stayed in. So concealers, I don't think I've marked these down, just purely because I was wearing them all the time. No, I haven't marked them down. So pretty much I just wore them every single day that I wore makeup, and I've worn makeup like for at least 2 weeks, so you could say they've had like 14 days of use. So basically what I do is I go in with that one in the inner corner to brighten, because it's a brightening concealer, and then I take the more neutral shade on the kind of outside or the perimeter. This one is in the shade Swan. It's the lightest one that they do, and then this one is the lightest one that they do as well. It's in the shade Brightener. So powders then, so we pulled 2 powders out. The Wet n Wild Photo Focus, Goodbye Photo Flashback. This one is in the shade Neutral Beige. So definitely used a lot more of this, and I'm hitting much more pan on it, but it's going back into the collection. So I used that. I don't even think I've made a note of the powders. I will have used that every day. I use that one just to brighten under my under eye though. And then I use this most days as well. It's the Hourglass Veil. And I'm going to keep this. So this one is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I'm keeping this one in, guys. There seriously isn't a lot left. It's just down here. And it's a big tub. So I want it out of the collection, and I want to declutter the tub, just so I can put the one that, if you see my friend Mel, Amy sent me one, just so I can put that in the collection, because at the moment I've got that many powders, they're just not fitting in the drawer. So there's that one. And like I said, I use that the majority of the times I wore makeup. Next time I need to remember to actually put powders on this list. Don't know why I haven't. Right, so next up, eye blushes. Right, so let's talk about these cream blushes first. These guys are absolutely beautiful, and I'm glad I pulled them. So this one isn't my normal shade that I would go for. It's very, very cool tone pink. It's in the shade Strawberry Cream. So let me just talk about this one first. So I used this one, and then I went in with the YSL blusher from this. It's absolutely beautiful. I thought I might declutter these palettes. This shade is absolutely beautiful. I definitely am going to keep it. So every time I pull this, I'll either pull this blusher here, or I'll pull my Dior one in, I can't remember the shade name, but I've got a really cool toned pink Dior blush. So yeah, they pair really, really well together. How many times did I use this? So I used the Dior blush 6 times. Right, so I used the Made by Mitchell blush 7 times, and I will have used the YSL one 7 times as well, because I don't just use cream blushes by themselves. So that's those. Right, and then we had this combination together. So we've got the Made by Mitchell blush in Darling Peach. So I used that 4 times, and I will have used this Dior palette 4 times as well, just for that beautiful shade down there. Is absolutely stunning and goes so well with a blusher. So I chose really well for blushers. The only thing I really got fed up of was highlighters. So let's move on and talk about them next. So we had the Too Faced Love Light, and I thought, as it's nearly Valentine's Day, let's pull this. So that looks like that. I mean, this one's okay. It's not the best highlighter in my collection. So that's what that looks like. It wasn't really this one that I was getting fed up of. Let me do a couple of swatches so you can see the shade. It is really, really pale. It's the palest one that they came out with when they did the collection. So how many times did I use that? Right, so according to that, 5 times. It was this one, guys. I really don't know if I like this Jaclyn Hill one. It's in the shade Extra. It's one of her loose highlighters, and it says here I used it 7 times. So I really gave it, you know, I gave it a lot of use. And I remember using this in what I got for my birthday haul, and Desi from Desi in a Day said, "You're glowing," and it was because I used this, but I just don't know if I like it. I do want to carry on testing it. It is a fairly new highlighter, but I'm not going to keep it in the collection. I'm putting it back with all the other things. The things that I'm going to keep in, I will tell you as I'm going through it. And I did use this MAC highlighter once as well. It's in the shade Soft and Gentle. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm figuring out what I want to do as a unofficial project pan. I'm doing the project pan 10 uses, but I also want to do a unofficial project pan, so I'll talk to you about that in another video. This is going to be one of the items in that unofficial project pan. I definitely want to use it up, and you know, every time I use it I'm making more and more progress. In fact, what I might do this go around is I might just pull one highlighter instead of 1 or 2 and use this and see basically how I feel. So we'll keep that there. Yeah, I did only use it once. Lipsticks, let's talk about that. So Maybelline Heroine, I think it's going to get decluttered, guys. These kind of lipsticks, let me know your thoughts on them, but this Super Stay Matte Ink, and I've got quite a few others, they don't dry down, they feel tacky. They eventually dry down, but I mean they still feel kind of tacky, and I don't like that feeling. It just makes me feel a bit icky. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade as well, so I think it's going to get decluttered when I do my lipstick declutter, which is unfortunate really, because I love that shade. So that one I used twice just to make sure I wanted to declutter it. The Rimmel Naughty Nude is this one here. It's just a neutral, everyday wearable lipstick. It's more like a balm, which is really, really nice. It's like the Dior one I had in the shade Underground, which I panned last year. So this one I used just once. Then we've got the NYX Professional Makeup Suede Matte Lipstick in the shade Kitten Heels. I wasn't much of a fan of the actual smell of this, of the scent of it, sorry. It smells like kind of gingerbread, and I hate that scent. So I'm going to keep it, obviously, because I paid good money for it, and just have to get used to the scent. So that one I used twice. Then we've got this one, I'm wearing this one today. It's a PS Lips in the shade Rosewood Mauve. Isn't it just such a beautiful shade? Especially like with pink rosy eye looks. So this one, where is that? Oh yeah, I've used it twice. But I want to say I've used this at least 3 times, but it says twice on my list, so that's that. I have also been using some lipsticks from my friend Amy. She sent me the Charlotte Tilbury one, and she also sent me one by Halika. I'm going to link that video to this video so you can go ahead and watch it if you haven't already. And I've used both of those lipsticks once each as well. So I kind of took days off, at least 2 days off, where I should have been using these lipsticks. because I'm not giving myself much choice, guys, I'm getting bored with them. I think I only pulled 4 lipsticks out last time and I didn't like one of them, so I only had 3 choices. So I think that's all the lipsticks. I haven't put that pigment in here. Right, so let's talk about this P. Louise pigment, which is absolutely stunning. Got a lot of compliments from you guys on this. It's in the shade Twilight Twinkle. Honestly, guys, I'll try and show it to you. But it's like a blue and it shifts all these different amazing colours. Let's see if I can get any. Definitely a duochrome. That can go back in the collection as well. Look at that. Where can that go? Yeah, it's like a blue and it shifts green. Right, so that's that. I only used it once. Let's talk about these. These are going to be in the unofficial project pan as well. So we've got the Steeler in the shade Yellowtail. No, that's Mint Myth. I use Yellowtails. So we've got the Steeler in the shade Yellowtails, and I've just got that in my inner corners, and I used it with the Lottie London eye foil in Savage. But before I used them, so I used them a total of 1 time, and that was today. Before I used them, I used an eyeshadow from the Glamour palette, which I'll go through with you in a second. Everything's falling everywhere. And also this one's drying up a little bit, but I'm going to try and revive it. This one's in the shade Mint Myth. I want to use that as well, or use it up, shall I say, this year. We've got a Primark gloss as well. I think I'm going to give this to my niece. I really don't like glosses. I don't know why I've got so many in the collection. This one is just in the shade Peach, I think. So yeah, there is that. I used that once. Then we've got these mascaras. I'm using these both together. So we've got the Patrick Tar Major Volume Mascara and the Essence Get Big Lashes. It's okay, it's not revolutionary. It's not like the best thing since sliced bread or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just using them up. And I think that's it for that little tray. So then we're moving on to this one. So I use this under my foundation most days. I've not tallied it, I've not put it on here. Sorry, the camera shut out. Naked Eye, I put that down twice. So Naked Eye then I use 5 times, not 4 times, so just ignore that. I've written it down twice for some reason. Unveiled. So Unveiled, this really nice peach, I used twice. Barely There. Barely There is another nice transition, I use that twice. Nearly Natural, this one down here, I use that twice because I've used it today as well. Strip Back, which is this really nice cool tone shade, I only use that once. Second Skin, this gold down here, I used that once. Disrobe, I used 3 times. This really nice chocolate brown here. And Raw, I used that once as well. So in total, sorry, the camera shut out. Naked Eye, I put that down twice. So Naked Eye then I used 5 times, not 4 times, so just ignore that. I've written it down twice for some reason. Unveiled. So Unveiled. This really nice peach I used twice. Barely There. Barely There is another nice transition, I use that twice. Nearly Natural, this one down here, I use that twice because I've used it today as well. Strip Back, which is this really nice cool tone shade. I only use that once. Second Skin, this gold down here, I used that once. Disrobe, I used 3 times. This really nice chocolate brown here. And Raw, I used that once as well. So in total, guys, I've used this palette 28 times, and the palettes are only to be used 10 times, so I've done really well with it. I've used it double, nearly triple the amount of times I wanted to use it. So that's the Glaminatrix Nearly Natural. Look out for the review that I'm going to be doing kind of like mid-February, towards the end of February. So that's that one. So like I said, I brought this one in to use, and I did use it to try and get a feel of the eyeshadows, but the main eyeshadow I used in this palette was the shade Kinky. So this like cream ivory shade here. I'll tell you what other shades I used. So the shade Kinky I used 11 times. So I've used it more than 10 times anyway, but I did also use some of the other shades. So I used Freestyle once. So that's that one. I used Backdoor once, which is that one down there. I used Barlust once. Sorry, that's Barlust, and that's Backdoor, that really dark brown up there. I used Mushroom once as well. So these shades, so these 3 shades here, these 3 shimmers, actually 4 shimmers, I didn't use. I don't like the formula. I think the formula's turned. Either that or I've got better eyeshadow formulas. So unfortunately this eyeshadow palette's going to get decluttered, which is a shame because it cost a lot of money at the time. I'm not hoarding it and keeping hold of it, keeping it in the collection when I'm not going to use it again. It just doesn't make any sense. I think I'm going to have to declutter that one into the bin just purely because I don't have room for it. Then I'll show you this one. So Amy sent this to me in friend mail, and I had a job interview and I had barely any time to do makeup, so I used this. So it's the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams. Really, really pretty. I literally got a look out of this in less than 5 minutes. I used it once, so that's what it looks like. Real pretty. I'm gonna recreate that look probably in a live. I don't know when, but I'll recreate the whole face makeup I used that day. So yeah, I used that once. Lottie London Eye Foil I used once today. That's in the shade Savage. The Stila liquid eyeshadow I used once in the shade Yellowtails. And I think we've gone through everything now. I feel, no we haven't. Sorry. So next up we've got the Revolution Pro Night and Day palette. So I went into my collection because I had like a week. I knew that I was going to be doing this Shop My Stash late, and I had a week with no eyeshadow. So I went in and pulled this out. It's the Revolution Pro Night and Day palette. So dupe for the Subliminal by Pat McGrath Labs. Oh my gosh guys, it is so good. If you can get your hands on this, highly recommend it. I bought mine from eBay because Revolution have stopped selling it. But these shades here are duochromes. I paid £7 for it and it's worth the £7, trust me. Anyway, I've lost the sheet, but luckily I've written the names down and I kind of know which shade's what. So I went in with Paved every single time I use this eyeshadow palette. So that's that one there. Then I went in with Wooden, kind of on the outer V. So those shades have been used, I think both of them have been used 4 times, yeah. Pearlized I used every single time, bar one. That's been used at least 4 times as well. And then we've got Steel. That's been used once, so that's Steel there, really pretty. This gold one here, what's that called? Sunrise. So Sunrise has been used once as well. I can't remember what that blue's called, but that's been used once. These 2 shades here have been used once. I think that's Quartz and that's Musk, or it could be the other way around. Blackout's been used once, or even that could be Quartz. I'm not 100% on shade names. I need to find that plastic, but I've used that once as well. No, actually, I used that one twice. Right, so let me just calculate how many times I used this palette. So we've got 18 times, and that's probably not even all of the times I've used it. So yeah, it's a really pretty palette, and I got some amazing looks out of it. I'm just actually editing my video where I did create the looks, so yeah, you'll see that really soon. And then that's everything, guys. That is literally everything. I'm starting the list on the unofficial project pan, like I said earlier, so that video will go up in the next week or so and you'll be able to see that. But for now, guys, let's head into my collection and pick out some new products. Right, so this is editing Andrea. So I've just edited my Shop My Stash. The lighting was really off when I was picking the products, so unfortunately you're not going to get to see me picking the products. What you will get to see is I've come back on camera and I want to show you what I picked out for the upcoming 2 weeks. So we'll show you palettes first. Right, so I wanted to use this one. It's quite old at this point. I didn't get it when it was first released or anything. I had it a few years later than that. But I like it for these kind of rosy tones, and I just want to see if it's still good. If it's not, I'll declutter it, or I'll make a note to declutter it when I do the declutter. Then we've got the Pat McGrath Blitz Astral Quad. Absolutely stunning. Amy bought me this and I just thought I'd use it, and I thought it would go nice with the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz that Naomi kindly gifted for my birthday. So that's what that looks like. The lighting is still off, I think, but it's better than it was yesterday. It was really warm, but I think that was because my light was on, my bedroom light, and it's quite warm, that light, so I've turned it off today. And it's earlier, so you can see it a lot better. So I'm just going to add this to the clips that are already in the Shop My Stash. So we're talking about how many times I used everything the last go around, because it's project 10 uses, and then I'll add this in at the end. Right, so that's the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. It's been on my wish list for a while. I just didn't know how much I wanted it until I looked into it properly. So that's that one. I need to do some swatches for this, for my shorts video. So that's all 3 palettes, so let's put them back. I wanted to do a Huda Beauty Rose Quartz live today, but I'm ill, guys, and I mean really ill. You can hear it in like when I talk, so I'm sorry that I'm all really nasally. It's not really just about the fact that I've got a cold. I've got a sore throat as well, and I don't really want to be filming when I'm like that. I'm hoping I'm going to be better for Saturday. I did say to Lisa that I would do another look with the Natasha Denona Gold palette. She wants me to do a green look with it, so I'm going to do that. Then, right, so for foundations, no primers. We'll do it in order of what's on the face. So I've got 2 primers. I've got a poreless one by Dior. I want a drugstore one, so next time I go into town I'm going to get a drugstore one. And then we've got this Essence Hello Good Stuff, which doesn't want to focus, but it's got watermelon and niacinamide in it, so I want to try that a little bit more. I did get it for that Get Ready With Me using Shop My Stash products, and I've only used it once. Right, so for foundations I pulled 2 out. Fenty Beauty, this one is in the shade 120. It's a hydrating foundation, and so's this by Flower Beauty, and they look like they're the same shade. This one is in Shell L0. So I pulled both those out. Right, for concealers I'm going to be using 2, which are those two. So we've got the Essence Skin Loving Sensitive Concealer. Why is nothing focusing? So we've got that, and then this one's just Project Pan that I want to use up, the Maybelline Eraser, the brightening one. And I've also pulled this, which is the L'Oreal Glow Cherie. It's basically a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I've kept this powder in here. It's the Hourglass Veil. There's barely any left, guys, so I want to use it up. So that's being kept in until it's gone completely. Other powders I've got is this Fenty Beauty in the shade Butter, and then I've got a Project Pan one from last year which I want to continue to use up. It's the collection one. Again, there's not much left there, so I want to use that up until it's gone. Other face products. So, bronzers, I'm not pulling any cream bronzers out until this is gone. It's not really in a Project Pan anymore, so that just looks like that. You would have seen it in the intro anyway when I was showing you all the products that I used last time. And then I'm using this one as well over the top, so I didn't pull a powder bronzer out. So, just going to focus on this side, not too bothered about the highlighter side. But also what I want to do is I want to try this Natasha Denona bronze cheek out, but I want to try this bronzer out over the top of that Revolution powder and see how that looks. I can't seem to make that palette work. I just feel like my skin is far too light for it. I might have to gift it someone. I might end up gifting it to my niece and just seeing if she wants to play around with it. It's too dark for her as well, but you know, you never know. She might fake tan in a couple of years and that might be good for her. So blushes, I got this. I didn't put it in what I got for my birthday, but I got this for myself from Look Fantastic. It came out Christmas, so it's part of the cheek party package. Blushes, so you're getting two blushes, so you're getting Shelley, which is one of the new ones, and Dandelion. They're all full size, and then you're getting Dandelion Twinkle. Now this Dandelion Twinkle, guys, I've been told it's more of a finishing powder like the Hourglass ones, and you can see what they mean. I mean, literally I put it here and it doesn't show up like a highlighter, is what I'm trying to say. Other blushes I've pulled out because of it being is this Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo. This one is so pretty. I absolutely adore that blush, so I wanted to use that. And then if I'm not much keen on that face palette I pulled, I wanted to pull this Flower Beauty one in the shade Sweet Pea. Not really used it a lot. And I also pulled the Hourglass, what shade is this? Luminous Flush. So that's that one. So we've got quite a lot of blush options this time, and I only pulled out one cream blush, which is that one there. I think it's called Daydream. It's one of the Simpsons ones that they brought out. Highlighters, there's only two. This one is absolutely gorgeous. It's like a duochrome highlighter by Laura Geller. It's white to pink. Let me show you. Couldn't really do too many swatches in yesterday's video because the lighting was off. It's a little bit better today. That one there. And then the last highlighter is this Goddess of Love. And again, it gave me Valentine's Day vibes, so I wanted to use that. I think that's it for that drawer, and then I just think it's lipsticks. Right, so some of the liquid lipsticks I want to test out. This one, because I really don't like it. It's like a moussey formula like the NYX ones, and I really don't like it. If I really don't like it, I'm going to pass it on to my niece because I want someone to get use out of it. It's not that old. It's called Cherry on Top. it would go really, really nicely with both the Astral Blitz palette and the Huda Rose Quartz. Then I pulled out 2 melted mattes. So this one is in the shade Cool Girl, and then this one is in the shade Child Star. And one of those I don't like, so I need to figure out which one it is and then just declutter it, I think, in the lipstick declutter when I come to do that. And then I've got another 3 lipsticks. So we're working with 6 lipsticks, but I think I was testing like those 3 out that I've just shown you and seeing what I want to keep and what I want to declutter. These ones are more like those Valentine's Day lipsticks that I probably use a lot. So we've got the Pat McGrath Labs in the shade Elson 2. This is such a pretty shade. I mean, look at that, guys. Such a pretty shade. And then we've got the Whitney Houston one that I got around Christmas time. Right, so I don't know why it's not focusing. I think there's too much of that in the background. But this Whitney Houston one is nice as well. I think that's my darkest MAC lipstick I've got. And then we've got this MAC lipstick as well. It's a powder kiss one, and I think that's going to go really nice with the Huda palette, the Rose Quartz. It's in the shade Ripened, and I think that's it. So I do want to use these a little bit more, both these Stila Cream liquids. I did use one today, so I used well, it was yesterday by the time I'm filming this. It was in the shade Yellowtails, and then this Mint Myth one, like I said in the other clip that you saw, I want to see if I can revive it. So there's some products from last year's Shop My Stash on here that I want to get more use out. So like the NARS Orgasm, I had put some stuff back. This highlighter as well I want to use up. Then we've got that powder down there, I want to use that up. The MAC Soft and Gentle, I want to use that up. I'm doing really, really well with this. Really well, I'm proud of myself. Then we've got this Essence Hydro Hero, want to use that up. Not used it for a while, but I do